Hi, this is Corey.hassman, and thank you for tuning into another video. Today, I would like to talk with you about both from a purchasing standpoint and from a landlord standpoint, the differences, pros and cons, for being in the city or finding a home to invest in the city, or the suburbs, finding a home to invest in the suburbs or living in the suburbs. Now, I've had a lot of clients that have asked me why there would be an advantage to living in the city or why there would be a disadvantage, and vice versa for living in the suburbs as well. Now, in the last year and a half, we've seen a lot of families or homeowners take advantage of it being a seller's market and wanting to sell their home for the highest possible price they can, and then downsize, whether that means another home around the area that they previously resided in, or moving into the city, where they may not need as much space anymore and can benefit from being in a spot or a location that they've wanted to for a while, but haven't been really able to based off of needing all of that space previously, such as a 2-car garage or a driveway or a big front lawn or something of that nature. Now, vice versa, with interest rates being super low as they had and things shifting into a buyer's market, you may be able to find more of what you're looking for going from the city than into the suburbs. Now, this can also be true for landlords. We've seen in the past 5 to 6 years that being a landlord or investing and flipping a home in the city has been really beneficial for finding new areas where students may be living in, or when the demand was really high, finding other places for prospective tenants, whether that's an apartment or a multifamily dwelling or just a residential home. The same can be said now for South Jersey, where the demand is super high for finding a rental and in those neighborhoods in the suburbs, especially when the inventory isn't as high and there are plenty of places that can be bought and invested in, but not necessarily where there's a lot of options for prospective tenants to be able to go. But that creates, from an investor's standpoint, a lot of opportunity for having permanent or residual income, from the standpoint of knowing that there's always going to be, for the near future, a lot of people interested in renting in different places. Like I said, specifically in southern New Jersey. Now, from a purchasing standpoint, the reasons I was mentioning before for wanting to move into the city, and then if you were looking in the city prior, we see that the differences in the suburbs, obviously, for all of that space and having an actual home is different in the city, where it may be an apartment, it may be a condominium, or it may be a townhome, but it's not necessarily one where the property has a lot of square footage in terms of the overall lot space or size, meaning a backyard or other places like a driveway or things that you may have differently. That doesn't necessarily mean one's greater than the other, but again, it's just based off of preference. If you don't feel as though you need that much space anymore, you may be able to take the net amount that you made from selling your home previously and go into the city where you could be spending less and you could have exactly, the location and spot that you wanted, but you don't need to have a 3-car garage, a huge driveway, and a front lawn. A lot of the times we see this example in what we like to call empty nesters, or where parents have, their kids that are working on their own now, or they've gone off to school, and they feel as though they can call a friend that's had a similar experience before and say, hey, where are you living at now? And kind of go into living a city life. It's kind of like a phase thing that occurs a lot, where if you've been living in the suburbs for 25, 30 years or even more, and you want to change things up a little bit, you could be going into the city and finding that it's a different experience. Like I said, not better or worse, but it's just a different experience. Vice versa as well, living in the city, your entire life, there's a completely different feel from then moving into the suburbs. But from an investment standpoint as well, like I noted, you may be able to find a lot more from going into the suburbs based off of what the demand is and the inventory and the type of home that you would from just previously focusing in Philadelphia. For me, I actually happen to have my license in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So when I have questions come to me a lot from clients asking, hey, we're starting from from the square one and we don't necessarily know exactly what we want, can you help lay out the advantages and disadvantages, or just the different type of options we may find being in the suburbs or being in the city? Now, there's the suburbs to Philadelphia, and there's the suburbs in New Jersey as well, where obviously they're completely different, but at the same time, what you may be finding from a inventory or market standpoint may be similar. If there's anything you'd like to hear more on this topic, please feel free to write to me or give me a call. I'm happy to go into more detail about any of that. Thanks so much and have a great day.